One port worked on every audio device for over a century. Then tech companies removed the headphone jack to free 0.03 cubic centimeters of space. What they built in its absence is worth billions, and that is not a design story. The humble audio jack began its life in the late 1800s, linking voices across the first telephone switchboards. By the 1950s, its smaller cousin, the 3.5mm mini jack, became the backbone of portable radios and tape players, connecting listeners to music in bedrooms, subways, and city streets. Standards bodies in Japan, the United States, and Europe all agreed on its dimensions, turning a simple plug into a passport for sound. Decade after decade, the jack threaded its way through Walkmans, boom boxes, home stereos, and every kind of headphone. It worked across brands, generations, and continents. No licensing, no proprietary gatekeepers, just a universal handshake for audio. For over a century, this tiny port delivered music, news, and conversation with the same quiet reliability, outlasting every format war and tech fad. Its disappearance was not just a technical update, it was the end of an era where connection meant freedom, not restriction. Manufacturers argued that removing the headphone jack freed up precious internal space, but lab measurements tell a more modest story. The jack itself occupies about 0.02 to 0.03 cubic centimeters, barely enough for a sliver of battery or a slightly larger haptic motor. Claims about improved waterproofing hold some truth. Eliminating an open port does make it easier to seal a device. Yet teardowns reveal that water resistance depends more on gasket design than the presence of a single hole. Audio latency offers another angle. Wired connections deliver sound in just 10 to 12 milliseconds, while Bluetooth often lags at 95 milliseconds or more, a gap noticeable to gamers and musicians. Moving the digital to analog converter from the phone's main board to an adapter or dongle adds complexity, but the technical gains remain incremental. The measured benefits, while real, seem limited when weighed against the sweeping changes that followed. Apple set the pace in 2016, unveiling the iPhone 7 without a headphone jack. Within a year, Google followed with the Pixel 2, making the absence of the port a headline feature. Samsung, after holding out through several Galaxy generations, dropped the jack from its S20 flagship in 2020. Huawei's P30 Pro and OnePlus's 9 Pro soon joined the list. Each announcement landed in rapid succession, transforming what had been a universal standard into a disappearing act across the industry's top brands. In just 4 years, the world's biggest phone makers rewrote expectations for what a modern device should include. The speed of this shift was no accident. By 2020, every major flagship had abandoned the analog port, and the idea of plugging in headphones was quietly slipping into the past. Sales of wireless earbuds exploded as soon as the headphone jack disappeared from flagship phones. In 2015, true wireless stereo shipments hovered around 40 million units worldwide. By 2020, that number had surged past 200 million, a five-fold jump in just 5 years. Market analysts valued the global wireless earbud industry at over $20 billion by 2022, with Apple's AirPods alone accounting for nearly a third of all shipments. Samsung and Google watched their own accessory sales climb sharply after dropping the port, while third-party brands raced to capture a share of this swelling market. The scale of this new revenue stream dwarfed anything seen in wired accessories. For tech companies, every device sold without a headphone jack became an invitation to buy into a wireless ecosystem, one where the rules, the prices, and even the upgrades were now set by the manufacturers themselves. Every phone sold without a headphone jack delivered instant savings to manufacturers. The tiny analog port cost less than $1 to install, about 70 cents per device according to Samsung's 2021 report. Multiply that by tens of millions of units, and the math adds up to tens of millions of dollars in annual savings. But the real windfall came from what replaced it. Premium wireless earbuds, like Apple's AirPods and Samsung's Galaxy Buds, sold for $150 or more, with production costs a fraction of the retail price. AirPods alone generated over $8 billion in annual revenue for Apple by 2022, with gross margins topping 40%, far higher than the phones themselves. Even dongles and adapters became a new cash stream, with Google's $19 USB-C dongle earning over $100 million in its first year. The missing jack didn't just trim costs, it opened the door to accessory profits that dwarfed any savings on the assembly line. Removing the headphone jack did not just drive sales of wireless earbuds, it also rewrote the rules for who gets to profit from every connection. Apple's Made for iPhone program began charging certification fees for Lightning accessories, turning each approved cable or dongle into a recurring source of income. Samsung and Google set up similar licensing systems for USB-C audio, collecting royalties from third-party makers. Meanwhile, a surge of wireless audio patent filings between 2016 and 2022 locked key technologies behind legal walls, making it harder for rivals to offer compatible gear without paying up. These patents covered everything from battery management in earbuds to proprietary pairing methods, ensuring that even the most basic accessory required company approval. The result, a walled garden, where every new headphone or adapter generated revenue, and switching brands meant leaving behind a growing pile of paid-up accessories. What started as a missing port became a structural lock on the future of audio. A missing port opened the door to a wireless gold rush and to tighter corporate control. Today, convenience comes with a price. Less choice, more dependency. The question is, who really benefits?